Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Scuddy, and I'm back with my co host Elizabeth Cullinan for another episode of Walking in Our Shoes. This week, we will be talking about our personal hardships. So that includes surgeries, that includes recoveries, and anything else along the line that we think we'd like to share with you. Um, as I mentioned in the introduction video, this is not for sympathy. Again, we're just trying to share our story with you, just trying to get that out there and just try to encourage others who maybe have had similar or maybe even different experiences to feel comfortable sharing their own stories. So again, this is not for sympathy, it's just to share. Alrighty, would you like to start?
Sure. All right. Hi, everyone. As you guys know, me and Renee have had our personal hardships, hospital stays, and recoveries. And it's kind of funny how much we've had in common and also have different differences with all that. I think the hardest one, I think for me was probably the hardest one, I think would be brains, one of the many operations I had on my brain. Because I had a VP shunt inserted, I don't know how many times. I've lost count. I think 15 times total. And then the recent one I had when I was 16 has now been in my brain for 14 years now. It's been in total. And that hospital stay was actually, I think, the shortest one I've ever had. I think that one I was only in for like 2 weeks, I think. And then I've had so many infections. I've had staph infection. I've had uh, hospital stays with staph infection, hospital stays with my bowel obstruction. I've had so many different ones. I think the hardest recovery, besides the one I recently mentioned, was my spinal surgery. My rhizotomy, they cut the nerves from L1 to L5, and they skipped L4 because of a tumor I had, a benign tumor that was actually growing inside my um right beside my spinal cord. So they cut that, then they found another tumor growing in between my shoulder blades, which was not fun, by the way.
I'm sure not. Oh,
Nope. Then I've had one chest tube insertion on my left side when I was a baby because they found my lung collapse because of a grade 4 bleeding. So I have had that. I've had my wisdom teeth out, which they had to knock me out because they thought it was safer for me.
I
That
was
reco
not knocked out. I was not knocked out. I was sedated. I was not knocked out.
I was knocked out and yeah. And then I had to have a bone chip removed in my ankle, which that recovery was weird and long because during that recovery, I had to deal with um, a personal death in the family during that time. So trying to recover from surgery when dealing with a death in the family,
It's a lot.
that was pretty much what happened with me. The hardest, I think the shortest one I've ever stayed at was I think 11 days I was in the hospital during one of my bowel obstructions.
The shortest, 11 days.
Yep.
That's
The longest
crazy.
one was 10 months.
That's crazy.
That was when I was first born.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Scuddy, and I'll be talking a little bit about my own surgeries, my own recoveries, that kind of thing. So, like Lizzie, I do have a shunt. I do have hydrocephalus, and the current shunt that I have was placed in January of 2001. So I was 8 months old, and it's the same thing that I've had since then. So I've had it for, let's see, I'll be 26 in May, so I've had it for 25
Bye.
years, 25 years.
Yeah.
Um, which that of course came with its own. share of infections and brain bleeds and all of that.
Oh,
So that's why I've had so many replacements with that. Um,
how many replacements?
I think two or three.
I beat you.
Thank you.
17.
Okay. Anyway, so that's that. For those of you who don't know, I think I've mentioned this before. I also have cerebral palsy, and so does Lizzie. So I've had a fair share of surgeries on the rest of my body as well. Um, and for those who don't know, that includes a tibial derotation. I had one leg
Oh,
that was crooked. I think that was my right leg that was crooked that I had
oh.
adjusted. I think it was 2007. I was in second grade, and um, I remember I'd just gotten back from school after being out of school for recovery for probably a few weeks, maybe a month at that point. And I'd just gotten back to school and I was in a wheelchair and I forgot to lock the brakes on my wheelchair and tried to stand up. Yeah, you know where this goes, don't you?
Yes, I
I had
do.
a I had a nice scar on the side of my on my right
Mm.
side. It was in front of the entire class too. It was ugly. That was probably that was among the most painful. Um, but yeah, so that's that. So I recovered from that, and I should also mention that the shunt that I have goes from my brain all the way down into my stomach. So I also have a scar on my stomach as well from that. I believe you do too as well, right?
Not anymore. I don't have it in my stomach anymore.
Oh, you don't?
No, I have it in my chest now.
Oh, yeah, well, I still have mine in my stomach.
Well, the doctor that I had who did it when I was 16, she decided that because I've had so many scar tissues and I actually had a staph infection from that,
Right.
that they suggested, or actually, she gave me the option of either having it in my chest cavity or my rib.
Yeah, no, chest cavity is fine, thank you.
Yeah. And ever since, it's been fine.
I'm sure. I am absolutely positively sure it has been amazingly fun.
Yeah. I also found out recently that I actually have a shunt in my spine.
How interesting. Real, do you really?
Yes, it's a small one and no problems.
Really?
Yeah.
How old were you when you had that placed?
3.5 and 4, between 3.5 and 4 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't realize it until very recently actually with my last MRI that I had for it, my last CAT scan for it.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. What a surprise.
Because I initially thought it was just a draining shunt, like a draining like thing that they just drained it out.
Hmm.
What I found out is that it drains out and then it goes back into my spinal cord or my spinal fluid and then goes up to my brain and then that's what it does.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that one.
I've also had both sets of wisdom teeth removed, so that was two separate surgeries. One for the top, one for the bottom. The top row of wisdom teeth, that was that was harder, I think, for me than the bottom. No, actually the bottom was harder. The bottom the bottom set of wisdom teeth, that was harder because it was harder to get to.
Oh, mother.
Yeah, so that one, the bottom set, it was harder for them to get to, so it took a little bit more of a surgery for them to get them out.
Oh,
And then the top set of wisdom teeth came in about a year and a half later.
that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
So I had my bottom set of wisdom teeth removed at 19, and then the top at like 21 or 22. The top
Why did why did you have two separate?
because they didn't grow in at the same time. They didn't erupt at the same time.
That is really weird. I thought you had to get them done at the same time because that's what happened with me.
I could have, but the doctor told me that to get my to extract my top set of wisdom teeth, it would take a heck of a lot more surgery, and that would risk ruining my gums and the nerves and the roots and everything. So he said,
Oh.
no, just wait until they erupt.
Ugh.
So I waited until they erupted. I was at school. I was at Millersville and I could feel them coming in. I told my mom. She's like, yep, time to go back to the doctor. So over Christmas break, I had my wisdom teeth out.
Yeah, I was in my first year of college when I had to have mine removed.
Did you have all four at once?
Yep. Well, the hardest part I think was because I've also had surgery on my brain where I had braces at the
Oh,
time.
for your teeth, you mean?
Yeah, I had braces on my teeth when I had one of my surgeries. I also had a metal uh roof
Root canal?
no, it's like a metal roof expander to help me not suck my thumb at the time.
Oh, like a plate?
Yeah. The hardest part of that is that they thought that was a retainer.
Did they try to take it out
They didn't, but they didn't realize that it was,
to keep you from sucking your thumb?
yeah, yeah. And then I think the weirdest hospitalization I think was when I had a bowel obstruction, if you remember what that is,
Oh, yeah. You've told me about that too.
where they had to put an NG tube down my throat.
Mm-hmm.
Not fun, by the way, getting that in.
I can only imagine that it's only fun getting out too.
Actually, getting it out wasn't as painful.
Really? Why not?
Huh?
Why not?
Because it didn't actually hurt as much.
Really?
No. It just going
See,
in makes you want to throw up.
so I would think that taking it out would hurt more.
Nope. Going in it will hurt more. Because it had to go through your nose, past your vocal cords, and then into your stomach. One of the hardest part, I think, is that every time they knock me out for surgery, by the way, they have to put so much in. They actually have to put me to sleep
Because
before they,
you built so much of a tolerance of it.
yeah. So they have to put me semi asleep before they give me the sleeping medication with the anesthesia.
See, so my problem with that is I wake up crying.
I wake up punching. I'm not kidding.
My most recent surgery. So for those of you,
Was which one?
the one I talked to you about with the braces on my legs,
Oh, that one.
yeah, that was uh bless you.
Thank you.
That was between my junior and senior year of high school. So that
Oh,
was the summer of 2017.
fun.
For those of you who don't know, I used to wear braces on my legs, and especially if you're watching this and you're a former teacher or maybe a former aide that I used to work with, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they were big. At least when I was younger, they were big, they were long, they would pretty much come up to my knees. And I would need help getting them on and off because I couldn't fit them over my shoes.
Oh, I hated that.
So my parents would have to help me put them on. Um, so when I was between my junior and senior year of high school, I had a surgery to get them removed. And that was probably among the hardest that I can remember. Um, and as a result of that, I have metal plates and screws in both of my ankles.
Mm.
Um, that required a 3-day hospital stay and 8 weeks in recovery.
That's the hardest,
And
I think.
that's just post-op. The whole recovery itself was probably about 9 months, including therapy, including all of that stuff.
Yeah. I think the longest recovery I think was my spinal one.
So 8 weeks in casts and then another 9 months to finish recovering from everything else. Um, but so that's the most recent one. So that included 9 months of physical therapy. Um, some of it was occupational therapy because I had to learn how to put my socks and shoes on
Mm.
by myself. So, and I was even doing that when I had braces on. So I've had uh, both in school and outpatient occupational therapy. During the occupational therapy sessions, they would teach me, at least when I wasn't in school, after school occupational therapy, they would teach me how to put my shoes and socks on, how to get them over the braces. And I would really need a lot of help with that because I couldn't get the braces in over the shoes. So I had a shoehorn that I had to use. And even with that, I still needed help. But
I never had to use shoehorn.
I always had a shoehorn. I had a shoehorn and a sock donner.
Well, when I had mine were like the ankle ones for a while.
Yeah,
And by the way, when you're having to get braces on, trying to find a shoe that will
that
fit it,
fits.
it took forever.
Yeah. I've always needed extra wides, not only because my feet are so wide, but because the braces themselves are so they're wide themselves.
Yeah.
So then I started wearing braces that came up to my knees and then they got progressively shorter. So eventually they got to AFOs, which are ankle and foot orthotics.
Yep.
So then I wore those for a while and that's what I wore until I had my surgery to get the braces removed. And then I was able to um, put on my socks and shoes on my own. And I can still do that today. Just it takes me probably that takes me probably 5 minutes to do, which is not
Yeah.
bad. So fast forward, I am almost 10 years brace free. It'll be 9 years in June.
You go, girl. So, speaking of surgeries and all that fun stuff and x-rays machines and MRIs, the hardest part I think for me is every time I have to go for an MRI or an x-ray, they keep asking, which is annoying, if I have to have something, how to get me onto the table. Because, they have to use a metal stepping stool to get you onto it, and then a stepping stool when you get off, right?
Right. Because I'm short.
So am I.
They have to lower it as much as possible for me because I'm short.
Yeah. And I think, when you get claustrophobic from that type of machine, like an MRI or a CAT scan?
Yeah.
That's what happens to me all the time.
Does it ever make you dizzy when you're looking up at the top of the machine and you can see it spinning?
Let's just say I have, because of my GERD and all that I have,
Mm-hmm.
guess what that causes me every time I'm in that machine with my GERD. And then when they have to do, because they always have to do with the MRI, they have to do with contrast
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
You know how much fun the IVs are for that.
See, I've never had an IV for an MRI, but I can only imagine.
So the last one I had for that, they got it in one try, no problem. Then, which I never knew what would happen, is that my entire, like, they were pulling it out. I had major bleeding afterwards. My entire right arm, my left arm was like bloodshot, bleeding.
Did you need a transfusion?
No, I didn't. Thank God. But they took it and they had to put me on four gauzes. They had to put four gauzes on my arm just to stop the bleeding.
Oh my gosh. Did you also have internal bleeding as well or no?
No, thank God.
That's an entire other nightmare. It really
Hmm.
is.
Did you have to deal with swelling like afterwards with the IVs?
With the IVs, no.
I did because they had to during one of my hospital stays. Actually, it was for my last shunt malfunction. They had to give me vancomycin to stop the staph
To drain the
infection
fluid.
to stop the staph infection.
Right. Hmm.
And the IV popped out without anybody realizing it until it was too late. My entire left arm was from like here up filled with vancomycin.
So your wrist to your forearm.
No, just my forearm, but it went from like this, what it is now,
Hmm.
to about there, all filled with vancomycin. Hey, have you ever had to have a PICC line put in?
No,
Lucky you. Guess who had to?
you.
And they had to do it in my left arm.
For anyone who doesn't know, what is that?
I believe that's an internal IV.
Okay.
I think so. I don't remember because,
It was that long ago.
no, it was about a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. It was my last hospital stay for my um bowel obstruction.
Okay. So so did you need that for your to clear your obstruction or
No, because they had to use so many IVs in my arm, it was just simpler if they used the PICC line. Because they had to get antibiotics.
to flush out the fluid?
No, just to because I was on IV nutrition. I was on IV like water, like regular IV,
Oh, so you were okay.
because I couldn't
So you were
eat.
getting fluids and nutrients from the IV.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they had to use that, and surprisingly, that didn't hurt at all.
Really?
No, that didn't hurt at all, which I'm very shocked about.
Oh,
So,
that sounds like a lot. Oh my gosh.
so I think the weirdest part of recovery, I think for me, was just the waiting, like being bored in the hospital room.
For me, the hardest part is because I'm so um I'm so self, you know, supportive. I tend to do for much as for myself as I can.
Hmm.
So I'm very independent and um if there's any way for me to do something on my own with little help, I will because I was always taught to be as independent as possible.
Yeah.
So for me, the hardest part is not only not being able to do a whole heck of a lot, but it's also not being able to do much of anything for myself.
Hmm.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's arguably harder than the operation itself for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I got everything. What
I think
about
I'm
you?
good. I think I'm good.
We're not professionals, we're not doctors. We're just telling you our story to tell you our story to to
Mhm.
encourage others to share their own story, that kind of thing. So if you know somebody who this podcast could help, please feel free to spread the word.
Hmm.
Again, if you would like to be a guest or if you have questions for us, again, our contact information will be in the description. So please feel free to
Yep.
reach out with contacts, questions, comments, um, anything along those lines.
Hmm.
Next week, we will be talking about uh, reconnecting
Hmm.
next week. So we look forward to sharing that story with you.
Yep.
For right now, that is the end of this episode. My name is Renee Scuddy.
I'm Elizabeth Cullinan.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.
Yep.